Right now, you're listening to the Championship Absolute Football Banter podcast, where we discuss upcoming fixtures, weekly match results, the table, all the clubs, and everything else. Right now, please welcome your hosts, Danny May, Tyler Tarft, Karl May, Dan McGee, Ash White, Ashley Slight, and other special guests. Sit back and enjoy.
Right then, guys, welcome back to another Absolute Football Banter podcast. Today, I'm joined with Dan McGee, Brentford fan, Karl May, a Borough fan, and Danny May, another Borough fan. Welcome to the podcast, boys.
All right, boys.
All right.
Yeah, it's good to have you all on. Right, so obviously this podcast is going to be talking about the first leg of the playoffs. To be honest, they weren't as exciting as what you'd think they'd be. You know, when it comes to the Championship playoffs, there's always excitement, but this is the only, half time. But Dan McGee, will come to you. You know, Brentford lost 1-0 in their first leg. For me, I predicted this, a Bournemouth win in the first leg. What were your thoughts on the game? You know, you watched more of it, and for you could probably give us a bit more detail on the first leg.
Firstly, I'd just like to say, obviously, before going into this match, I did say that I'd like it to either be a 1-1 draw or I think we would lose 1-0. And it sounds bad for me to say that, but I'm quite happy with that, simply for the fact that Brentford are a team that likes the chase. And I say this week in and week out. We're not one of those teams that when it turns up, when we're given a chance to win, or when we're given a chance to actually win something, we don't go and grab it. We like to chase. And so that's why I'm quite happy being 1-0 down at this result. I mean, it was really one of those games. I knew it would be a game of fine margins and it would just take a little bit of luck somehow. Our centre-back got caught out. He was way too up the pitch. Pontus Jansson, ex-Leeds player, our captain, he was just caught upfield, tried to do a bit of skill, didn't work. Bournemouth broke out on the counter-attack. Great counter-attack and scored. Although it wasn't against the run of play up until that, they really dominated the game. We had our chances. But I'd say for the last half an hour or so, we really showed that we deserved to be in that game. We had our chances. If anything, I can't wait for Saturday. I really can't.
Yeah, and look, it's only half time within the leg, really, and I think, like you say, it's better to come from. I think it's a bit better to be 1-0 down because you know that in the second leg you're going to your own ground and you know you need to put in a win. And the plus side is it's only one goal, so you're not got a massive lead to really chase.
Well, it's the same result that we had with Swansea last year in the first leg, and look how that went in the home leg to us. We were 1-0 down on the away leg to Swansea, played the home leg, we won 3-1.
Yeah, exactly that. Karl, what are your thoughts on the Brentford Bournemouth game?
Well, I thought Brentford would have won it, to be honest, but it was a lot tighter game than I expected. And I think Bournemouth probably did deserve it, to be honest. But as Dan says, it's only half time, and at home with some fans, I think Brentford will give it all. It's only a goal in it, so get a goal and then see where it goes from there.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think I can't see Brentford not scoring at home. Really, can you?
No. Danny May, come to you then. Obviously, it's good result for Woodgate and his boys, eh?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Brentford had a bit of a sketchy run towards the end of the season. And Bournemouth
Yeah, we actually lost in about 12 games, Dan.
I'm sure he's had a sketchy run, surely. I remember.
We're undefeated in 12 games.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm completely wrong then, because I remember towards the back end of the season, he's had a bit of a sketchy patch.
I think they had a mid-season patch where
right.
I think it was about February, March, early March, wasn't it? They had a little bit of a thing, but it didn't last too long.
Well, like you say, Bournemouth have been on fire since Woodgate arrived. I knew before the game that I knew it was going to be a tight affair. Two great sides, obviously pushing for promotion. And to be honest, it's probably the Bournemouth home advantage, on their pitch, has possibly edged it. And with the likes of Brentford, once they turn it on, they can dominate any game. They have been good. Like you say, they had that little bit of a rough patch, but when they do turn it on, this is all to play for. There's no two ways about it. Like the boys said, it's only half time, so this can just swing either way, regardless.
Yeah, definitely, and especially with the Championship playoffs, we've seen throughout the years, many years that most games, they're far from over now. But let's talk about Barnsley versus Swansea then. Obviously, Barnsley are will just be so happy to be there. A side that everyone would have predicted to go straight down. We know what Barnsley are like, probably one of the biggest yo-yo clubs in football, from going to League One to Championship and back. So they'll just be happy to be there. But coming up against the Swansea side, who at the start of the season I thought would be going for automatics, they were really good. And then I think they just hit a bit of poor run, and they went a bit inconsistent from that running. But this finished 1-0 Swansea win at Barnsley. So really not a result that Barnsley would have wanted at all. Dan McGee, how do you see this one,
Well, I said this on the podcast before going into the playoffs. I said every team in that top six deserves to be there for a deserved reason, and Swansea are there for a reason. I actually predicted a Swansea win, I think, on this one. I know that they weren't in the best of form going into it, but like I was saying, Barnsley should be happy that they finished in the playoffs. That's their main goal. I know a lot of the fans want to see them get promoted and that, but I don't think that's going to happen. They should be happy with where they finished in the league. Swansea, obviously, this is their second year being in the playoffs now. Like I said, Swansea deserve to be there for a good enough reason. They deserve to be fourth, even though they're 2 points ahead of fifth, but they deserve to be that. They deserve to be fourth, and it just goes to show why.
Yeah. And I think watching these playoff games more as a neutral is better, because I think when you're in the playoffs, it is really nerve-wracking to watch. Whereas when you sit watching it, it's a bit more better, and it's now good that the fans have got back in for these playoffs games when the players need them the most. Karl, your thoughts on the Barnsley Swansea game then?
Well, I expected a Barnsley win, to be honest, especially being at home, but it was another tightish game. I think there was a bit more action in this one than the Brentford Bournemouth game. I think the bits I seen Barnsley were a little bit unlucky, even though it was more towards the end of the game. And I think they might have been just throwing everything at it when I was watching. But I think they'll give it everything. I think these first legs for both ties. I think they've been a bit cagey, haven't they? I think the second legs could be a bit more explosive and more goals, and should be a better watch.
Yeah, definitely. Dan May then, expected, unexpected. What's your thoughts on this one then?
Well, for me, Swansea have been a bit sketchy. They were sketchy towards the end of the season. You know, they picked up the odd win, mainly draws, couple of defeats. Just going back to what Dan McGee said, with the Barnsley, should just be happy. He doesn't think that they'll go up. I disagree with that in a certain extent. I think Barnsley have warranted themselves to get there. I think Barnsley deserve just as much as any other team to go up. And, you know, for me, they've probably been one of the most informed teams this season. They've been absolutely fantastic. So, you know, I wouldn't put it past them to overturn this. You know, they've played really well this season. And to be honest, I don't think there's any other team in the playoffs that have battled as hard as Barnsley have to be where they are. I mean, Brentford, Swansea and Bournemouth, you would sort of expect them to be there. Barnsley have been a mid-table championship club, and, you know, been League One and whatnot. So I think they do warrant being there. You know, they've turned the team around, and they seem to be doing great things.
Yeah, definitely. And one fact I felt like I had to bring up in the podcast, just because I'm a Derby fan, is only one team in the history of the playoffs has lost the first leg at home and gone through in the playoffs. Obviously, that was Derby against Leeds under Lampard. So Barnsley have got a bit of pressure on them going into the second leg. Obviously, losing their home game. You know, when you're at home, that's not one of the legs you do want to lose in. Because I think that puts a lot of pressure on Barnsley now going to Swansea. And like I say, only in the history of the playoffs, only one team has lost their first leg at home and managed to get through, and that was Derby. So, yeah,
I mean,
no
for me, Swansea have been that sketchy. You know, you don't know what Swansea team's going to turn up in this second leg.
No, and I think that's been Swansea's problem in perhaps most of the second half of the season. You know, you just don't know what Swansea side's going to turn up, if they're going to want it. And I do think out of them two, Barnsley deserve to get to the final. I know they haven't shown that in the first leg, but I do think Barnsley will give it a really good fight in the second leg.
Well, for me, like you say, Barnsley have been nowhere near for years, you know, and to play the way they have this season, I think it's brilliant. And I'd like to see them to get the final, if I'm honest.
I Definitely. Would as well. I mean, they only stayed up last season. It went down last season because of the points deduction. Because Charlton,
Wigan and Charlton.
Yeah, that's the only. It was Wigan won it. They stayed up because of Wigan getting their points deducted. I mean, and it was only like the last minute of the game or something that they stayed up at the last game.
Well, yeah, they beat us. That's how they stayed up.
Yeah. Which is unreal. So
yeah.
The improvement this year has been phenomenal, and I hope they do get at least to the final anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Looking ahead at the second legs, then obviously Brentford host Bournemouth, 1-0 down. Dan, tell us your score prediction, and just mention a little bit about it. You know, obviously this game is massive to you.
Yeah, it's a massive game. I think there's two factors that really play with this. Like I say it all the time, Brentford are a team that likes to chase. We're going to chase this game. We know we need to win by 2 goals in order to go through to the final. it's not. I don't think it's going to be another game of fine margins. I think both teams are really going to go for it. Thomas Frank came out on a conference and said, you know, when it comes to Saturday, you're going to see a Brentford team that is going to do or die. Do you know what I mean? He said you're going to see a completely different Brentford side come Saturday. So I mean, the boys know how much this means as well. If anybody deserves it this season, I don't mean to sound biased, but it's us. We came so close of it last season, and you know we're only 4 points closer. We're only 4 points off automatic promotion. We're third for a reason at the end of the day. Like, I think many fans, especially Premier League fans, would agree that they want to see Brentford in the Premier League. So I don't think it's going to be a game of fine margins. I can see it being a 3-1 result to Brentford.
Yeah, and this is one thing I always find harsh with the playoffs, in the fact that you know, sixth place could potentially get promoted instead of third place.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that you can find harsh with it. I think my score prediction is going to be similar to yours. I think because Brentford being at home and they know what they have to do against Bournemouth, I think I'm going to say a 3-1 win or something like that. You know, a goal. I think Brentford will go through in this second leg. Karl, your score prediction for this, and if you want to add anything about it.
Yeah, well, I think it'll be 3-1 as well. I was going 3-1. Do the playoffs, does away goals count in playoffs? I'm not sure. But
No, they don't.
Because I was going to say, because they'd have to win 3-1, 2-1 wouldn't do, would it? So I can see Bournemouth scoring. So I think they'll need to get 2, maybe 3 to be in with a chance.
Yeah,
so I think they'll go out. I think it'll be a much more open game and entertaining, and there'll be goals in it. So 3-1.
Yeah, and Brentford have got to go up this year. If they don't, then I think next season will be a bit more of a struggle. You know, losing Tony, they'll definitely lose Tony. Obviously, last year they lost some good players to the team, and I think next season could be a lot harder. You know, a lot of their team will maybe get brought by lower Premier League sides. Dan May, then your score prediction of this one.
I feel like that we're probably going to be somewhere near with the score predictions of what you have said. Because all I can see is, knowing what I know about Jonathan Woodgate, when he became the Borough manager, it was more like he wanted to do attacking, vibrant football. And all I can see in this is that Bournemouth are going to sit back and try and counter. But I think Brentford are too good for that. I think Brentford will punish them. I can't see it being 3-1. Maybe it's a 2-1 win to Brentford. But yeah, I think he'll probably get it tactically wrong. That would be extra time, yeah.
And penalties.
Yeah, I mean, it's too easy. To be honest, both teams have been fantastic. You know, they deserve to be where they are. Because of the form, the consistency's been decent. I know 2-1 would put it into extra time. But I'm going to have to go 3-1 because I do think Brentford will win in normal time. I don't think it'll be an extra time and penalty sort of thing. I think Brentford will go through to the final.
Yeah. So last game we're going to talk about then, Swansea versus Barnsley in the second leg.
17-0 Barnsley.
I don't see this being an exciting one. I see a 1-0 Barnsley win in normal time, and then Barnsley to do it on penalties, to be completely honest. Dan McGee, what's your score prediction?
1-0. That's Swansea
1-0.
Final.
Swansea to go through. Karl?
I think 2-0 Barnsley. I'm going for him. Get in.
Danny
Come
May?
on, Barnsley.
Yeah. I'm going to sit with it'll be something like a 2 or 3-0 win Barnsley for me.
Yeah, so
I
Brentford
really do.
Barnsley final then.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Barnsley, people are underestimating them in this. I do feel like they've got it in the tank to take the game to Swansea. And to be honest, I don't like Swansea in the slightest. So, and I'd rather see Barnsley in that final, albeit that I do personally think that they won't go up even if they get the final. But it'd be a good day for the fans. Be great for the fans.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's the playoff talk done with. One last thing that we'll talk about on the show. News come out today that former Middlesbrough striker Ashley Fletcher has agreed to join Watford. That's quite interesting considering that Borough's let him go. Just want to know your Borough fans' thoughts on it, Karl.
Well, to be honest, we offered him a new deal, but it wasn't on the terms he was on because he's on big money. We got him from West Ham for big money and give him big wages. So we weren't going to pay them wages again to keep him. I think Warnock was a bit let down that we've stuck by him from a few injuries and that, and just started giving him a chance and he gets injured and then offer him a contract and he turns it down. So good luck to him, but I don't think he hasn't earned what we give him over the last 3 or 4 years. So he didn't really deserve to get that again. You know what I mean? But fair play. Someone else might see it as a bargain, just paying him them sort of wages.
See, for me, we paid. I think it was £7 million for him.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I don't think we've got our money's worth out of him. He has scored a few goals, but nothing to say that there's him and British Sombalonga the same. Paid 15 million for him. Scored a few goals, but still not enough for me.
They've both got attributes, haven't they? And I think in the right team. I think even Fletcher in our team, if we had the right partner, he could do a decent job. And I think that's what Warnock wanted next season. But obviously he's turned it down and we're not willing to pay silly money.
Pay stupid money for him.
Yeah, I mean, our top goal scorer this season, I think I read was Akpom with 5 goals, striker.
What more with 9, wasn't it?
Was that what it was?
I think he got 9. But I think after that was Akpom with 5.
Yeah, well, I mean, even out and out striker, because I know what more sort of plays off the forwards, it'll pull out wide or whatnot. But I don't know. I still think that there's not enough goals in our team. Go on, mate.
When you think what more when he came in like October, November, or something like that. So he missed a few months of the season.
And he was on a free. It just goes to show, and it speaks volumes when we spend, 22 million on 2 strikers that are now going on a free.
We signed him on a 6-week contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he goes and does the business. So you never know what's out there, do you? Hopefully we'll find a bargain ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Dan McGee, do you want to add anything to the situation at Fletcher or nothing?
I didn't really know him, to be honest. I didn't really know much of him at Borough, but if Watford are looking at him at the age of 25, I think that'd be a good move for him. No disrespect to Borough, but I think if a player was offered to go and play in the Premier League, even if it is a newly promoted, back to the Premier League team, of course you're going to go. Obviously, Watford sees something in him. That will do his confidence good, and I think is he going on a free or is it?
Yeah, he's going on a free. His contract's up at the Borough.
Well, it's not very good. It's not very good business, really. If you done it the season before, then yeah, it could have been good business. But to let him go on a free and pay all that money, like you boys were saying before.
Well, we released him early. Actually, we released him before the end of the season because I think he basically they knew that he was gone, so they just said, "One, him and Fletcher, him and Brit went." So it is what it is. I think
lot.
we offered him a new deal and it wasn't worth it.
And on the plus side, I'd like to ask Dan McGee as well. I don't know if he knows much about him, but we've just signed Joe Lumley.
It's QPR goalkeeper, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard or know of him. The only thing I've seen of him is he came on, I think it was about the 39th minute against Borough a few months back, and he had an absolute worldie of a game.
Yeah, he did.
I think Lumley is one of those keepers. Yeah, this season, don't get me wrong, their goalkeeper has been something else. I don't know who Rangers keepers was last season, but if they've changed keepers this season and Lumley's been, I think, honest to God, if this season QPR's keeper Lumley, he's done great bits. I have to say it was a great signing from QPR. I think he'll do well at Borough. I hope
Can't
so.
be
Anyway.
any worse than Bettinelli.
Oh, hey, I tell you what, I'd rather have someone with one arm than him.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's all the news. Is there any other news in the Championship?
No, I don't think so.
Did Derby signed anyone?
No takeover news.
We've been massively linked with South Korean international, huge potential, fucking no one. Yeah, look, boys, we've been linked with a few players. Liam Delloc from Manchester City on loan. Yeah, that's not happening. We're linked with him every year. Boring. And then we've been linked with, well, we're not being linked, but one player that's potentially getting released soon from the MLS, Johnny Russell, ex-Derby player. Yeah, I would love him back. He's not being linked with us, but he's being linked with Newcastle, Sheffield United and Fulham. Yeah, I'd be good to see him to go to anyone else. I hope he stays in MLS. But no, that's all Championship news for this week, I think.
Yeah.
Have you boys got anything you want to add?
When you signing them twins as well, Bob and No Hope.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that they're bringing a left-handed screwdriver with them.
Why would he be doing that?
Same reason we're signing them.
But Baz and Matty Rice.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
That's
anyway, boys,
That's Matty.
is that all the news in all seriousness?
Yes.
I think there is other world news that we do need to go over.
And what's that, Dan McGee?
Nothing.
Yeah, right. So I just want to say personally, all the best to Bournemouth in the playoffs. You know, I'd hate to lose Dan McGee. I don't want the Premier League taking him unless they're paying big money for him. He's staying on this podcast and in our group. So Premier League, you're gonna have to pay big money for Dan McGee. Nah, in all seriousness, good luck in the second leg, Dan. And hopefully on next week's podcast, we're looking forward to your final.
To be honest, before we go, Tyler, we felt the same about you. We didn't want League One to take you.
Yeah,
exactly. That's why we were rooting for you.
I'm glad we support each other, boys. Championship forever, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, thanks for coming on, boys. It's been a blast, and like I say,
Cheers,
hopefully next week we're looking forward to the final. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to Dan McGee. He's got some amazing stuff going on with his music at the minute. You've got to go and listen to him. Join our groups: Championship Absolute Football Banter Group, All Leagues Absolute Football Banter Group, and like our page, Absolute Football Banter page. We keep updated with podcasts, guests, and all that on there. Give them a like, show them some love, yeah, and share this video around.
And subscribe to Tyler Tarft.
Oh yes, subscribe to Tyler Tarft on YouTube on the road to 2K.
I don't understand. You forget your own video before everyone else.
Listen, I showed Dan McGee the more love. You know, #2 fan.
No, you both do great on YouTube, boys. Fantastic channels. Right, catch you later, boys.
Cheers for coming on, boys.
Love you, boys.
Good luck,
Ciao
Dan.
for now.
Ta-ra.